Ethan Ward was used to silence. Silence in the echoing halls of his glass and steel mansion, silence at his dinner table, and silence in his heart. He was a self-made billionaire, sharp, brilliant, and feared in the boardroom. But money, as he'd learned the hard way, couldn't fill the emptiness that came from losing trust in people. His parents had left him early. Friends were opportunists. Relationships? Temporary. So he built walls, literal and emotional. He didn't even notice the new maid his housekeeper had hired until one late night, long after a board meeting, he returned to the study to retrieve his tablet and caught a light on in the staff library. A room nobody ever used. He opened the door and paused. There, seated at the desk, was a young woman in a faded uniform, poring over a thick textbook, her eyes darting back and forth as she scribbled notes. She didn't hear him. She was too focused. "A little late for cleaning, isn't it?" he said, his tone neutral but curious. The girl jumped, startled. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to be in here." "What are you studying?" he asked, stepping closer. She hesitated before answering. "Organic chemistry. I have an exam next week." He blinked. "You're in school?" She looked down, embarrassed. "Yes. At the community college. I clean here during the day, and study at night. I need the money to pay tuition. I'm trying to get into medical school." For a moment, Ethan said nothing. In his world, ambition wore suits and sat in corner offices. It didn't mop floors. "What's your name?" "Lila. Lila Garcia." Something in the way she said it, nervous but proud, made him nod thoughtfully before leaving the room without another word. But that night, he couldn't sleep. The next morning, he called his assistant and asked for Lila's file. There was barely anything, no references, no history. Just a note that she'd taken extra shifts whenever offered, and that she never missed a day. From that moment, Ethan began to notice her. She'd arrive early, her uniform spotless. She was quiet, respectful, always carrying a small backpack that looked like it had seen better years. She never spoke unless spoken to, never complained, and yet carried herself with a quiet determination that gnawed at Ethan's conscience. One afternoon, he found her cleaning the dining room while mouthing medical terms under her breath. He surprised even himself when he asked, "Want a real place to study?" Lila looked at him, confused. "I don't understand." "I have an unused office downstairs. It's quiet. Better lighting. You can use it after your shift, if you want." Tears sprang to her eyes before she quickly wiped them. "Thank you, sir." And so it began. Every evening, Lila studied in the office he'd once used for paperwork he never read. Ethan would pass by sometimes, pretending to be on a call just to listen in as she repeated anatomical terms or tested herself on case studies. One day, he found her asleep at the desk, a coffee cup in hand, medical books open like wings around her. He draped a blanket over her shoulders and turned off the lights, a strange warmth blooming in his chest. But their path wasn't smooth. Word got around among the staff. Some sneered, whispering that she was manipulating him. One of Ethan's board members, a slick executive named Darren, mocked him at a meeting. "You're letting a maid play doctor under your roof?" Darren scoffed. Ethan didn't answer. But the next day, he fired Darren for mishandling a deal, making it very clear that disrespect in any form wasn't tolerated. Lila faced her own battles. Her father had left when she was 12. Her mother worked double shifts at a diner. Money was always tight. She'd nearly dropped out multiple times, but she never let go of her dream to become a doctor, to give people the care her own family had gone without. One evening, as she packed up her books, Ethan stepped into the room. "Why medicine?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe. She looked at him. "Because I know what it's like to be helpless. I don't want anyone else to feel that way." He nodded slowly, something in her words echoing his own childhood pain, the nights he'd slept in shelters, the hunger, the fear. 2 weeks later, she came home to find an envelope on the study desk with her name on it. Inside was a scholarship letter. full tuition, books, a laptop, and housing. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She ran to find him. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, voice trembling. He looked at her, eyes soft. "Because you've already earned it. You just needed someone to believe in you." Years passed. Ethan watched from the back row as Dr. Lila Garcia walked across the stage in her white coat ceremony, pride etched into every inch of her being. The room stood in applause. Her eyes found his in the crowd, and he smiled a rare, genuine smile. He'd once built empires, closed billion-dollar deals, stood on the covers of magazines. But nothing compared to what he felt in that moment. She had changed his life, too. Moral: kindness doesn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes, it's a quiet office offered in the dark, a scholarship slip on a desk, or a chance given when no one else would. And in lifting others, we often lift ourselves in ways we never imagined.